Good morning, everyone. We have a few minutes before we start meditation today. Just settle into your spaces, make yourselves comfortable. Begin to breathe deeply. And as I said, meditation will begin in just a few minutes. My name is Kristen Piers, and I will be your meditation facilitator today. We have a few minutes before we start meditation today. Just settling into your space. Meditation will begin in just a few minutes. I'm so grateful you're joining me today. Happy Mother's Day, everyone. Welcome, everybody. Meditation will start in about 1 minute. Continue making yourself comfortable in the space you're in, just settling in. Good morning. How are you? Beginning to find your breath, inhaling and exhaling. Yes. And now it is time to begin our meditation. My name is Kristen Piers. I am a practitioner here at the Columbus Center for Spiritual Living, and I am so glad that you're here with us today. Settle into your space. Feel your feet either on the floor or tucked up under you. Find the most comfy position you can while still staying awake. Inhaling and exhaling. I am so glad you're here today. Imagining on this Mother's Day, imagining yourself held in the space that you're in, held by the air, held by the cushions on your chair, or on your floor, or on your bed, held in the space wherever you are. This is your time to settle in and to let go. Bring your attention to the center of your head, that space that is equidistant between front and back, side, and top and bottom. As you bring your attention to the center of your head, Let go of what is not yours, what is not yours to be responsible for, what is not yours to think about or attend to in this moment. Let this moment be just for you. As your attention is at the center of your head, make yourself comfy there in the center of your head. You can imagine the perfect chair, the perfect patch of grass, the perfect pillows to be in the comfy space at the center of your head. In this space, there is nothing that you don't want. There is everything you do want. There can be fuzzy kitties, happy puppies, delicious food. Whatever you want is at this space, the center of your head. Inhaling and exhaling. Letting your breath flow naturally and easily. Trusting that the next breath will come and being delighted as it does. As you're comfy in your space at the center of your head, notice what your environment is like there. Is there sunshine? A warm drizzle of rain? Ocean waves? A gentle breeze? Let this environment be your perfect environment. You can have anything you want in this space, knowing that you are held and you are loved. You are cared for in this space. What is the temperature? Are you warm and cozy? If you're too hot, imagine the temperature drops a few degrees. You are in control here. This is your space to relax and let go. Laying down anxieties, worries, laying down joys and celebrations. Let them go. Rest outside your room. Right now is for you to enjoy in this space that you have chosen just for you. And from the center of your head, as you have had your attention on your environment outside, turn your attention to the environment inside. From the center of your head, look down into your body, as if you're a curious child in a tree house. looking down into this amazing body. And you see your vertebrae like a ladder climbing all the way down to the ground. You can get on the ladder and go down, or you can just gaze at it and say, wow. As you gaze or climb down the ladder of your vertebrae and your spine, notice what's there. Can you see the heart? Your heart beating steadily. Can you see your lungs filled with little tiny sacs of air? And the air comes in and the little sacs, the little balloons get bigger. And the air goes out, the little sacs get smaller. It's like a big birthday party. All those little sacs of air celebrating life, your life. Looking down further into your stomach, that space that begins the digestion of your food, and into your intestines, a long set of tubes to explore, where all of the goodness you bring in gets distributed. Yes. Right now, take a few minutes and simply allow yourself to explore your body. Whatever draws your curiosity, bones, muscles, organs. You can gaze from the center of your head, or if there's a part of you that's scrambled down the ladder and wants to touch and feel and try everything. Take a few minutes to just observe and be curious and playful. What are you finding? What are you noticing? What is amusing to you? Keep exploring. if you're exploring, you hear a voice calling you back home. In this case, back home to the center of your head. Bringing your attention, bringing your little self back from the explorations, back from the curiosity, back up the ladder of the spine, back into the center of your head. Yes. Inhaling and exhaling. In the center of your head, gazing around this perfect space that you chose and you created to be just right. Notice how it's been to be here. Good job. Inhaling and exhaling. This is your space. This is your space. And beginning to bring your attention back to your whole body and the external world, wiggling your fingers and your toes. Letting yourself stay connected to the curious exploration, the delight of having space and time to explore and follow, stretch and move. And let yourself carry those qualities as you move into your day, being curious. Good job. Inhaling and exhaling. Thank you. Thank you for joining me for meditation today.
Good morning. Happy Mother's Day. Welcome to the Columbus Center for Spiritual Living. My name is Ann Strayer. I'm a practitioner intern, and I'll be giving you the announcements today. Please remember, due to the current pandemic, we will be offering our Sunday celebration on our YouTube channel. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe now and click the bell to be notified when we are live on YouTube. A huge thank you to everyone that participated in the amazing talent showcase this past Friday evening via Zoom. What a great experience was had by all. Watch for details for the next event that will take place in June. Please join us via Zoom for our ongoing Wednesday Community Connection. See your Ccsl Weekly Word e-newsletter for the Zoom sign-in or call the Ccsl office. Have you signed up for Reverend Gregory's Conscious Loving class? It's really, really good. If not, today is the last day to register. Email Robin at spirituallivingcolumbus.org. Class 3 takes place on Saturday, May 16th from 10 to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time via Zoom. Our 2020 annual meeting will take place on Sunday, May 31st on Zoom. Watch your email for more information. And remember, if you want prayer service after service or anytime throughout the week, you can find a practitioner on our website, columbuscsl.org, or you can submit a prayer request on our website or by clicking Contact Us on our Facebook page. That's the news for today. Let's all sing our opening song, We Come Together.
Take a look at the person next to you. Say God loves you and I love you too. Feel the love and the unity. your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. All right, let me see some hands clapping. Take a look at the person next to you. Say namaste, I bow to you. Feel the love and the unity. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love.
Hello, welcome to the Columbus Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Julie Matheson. I'm a practitioner here at Ccsl. We are an inclusive organization, which means wherever you are in your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. Thank you for joining us on our YouTube channel today. If you've not yet subscribed, please take a moment and do that now. We'd love it. You will also be able to view today's recording on our Facebook page. Again, welcome. We're glad you're here.
Hello, this is Reverend Amy Papadoupolo. Please say our CCSL vision statement with me. We are a spiritual community that inspires, advances, and supports the global vision of a world that works for everyone, one person at a time, starting with me and moving it forward. I'd like to thank practitioner Kristen Piers for meditation, and practitioner Margie Salmons for holding virtual high watch for our service today. Now, I'd like to reintroduce Ann Strayer, practitioner intern, who will be assisting me today. Ann?
Thank you, Amy. And with the ringing of the bowl, we begin our sacred service. A reading by Bryant McGill. When the voices of doubt start whispering, turn up the volume of faith and listen to your hearts. And now let us take the music within.
Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and
sundown and all the stars came out. Just 'cause I couldn't see, they were still waiting for me. That's what I'm talking about. And there's nothing to heal, nothing to heal. No, there's nothing to fix, nothing to fix. Don't need gimmicks, and you don't need tricks. It's all there inside, waiting to come out. There is nothing to heal, there's only to reveal. That's what I'm talking about. No, there is nothing to heal, there's only truth to reveal. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you, and happy Mother's Day again.
Ralph Leesburg is in the house.
Thank you.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much, Ralph. Your lyrics are just like fun meets soulful. So cool. Oh, thank you. Good morning. Hello, I'm Julie Matheson. I'm a practitioner here at the Columbus Center for Spiritual Living. When our own Jay Barnes told me he put my name in the hat to give a Sunday talk, I said, "You did what?" And then I found out that Mother's Day was available to speak, and I said, "Oh, Mother's Day, I'd love to speak on Mother's Day." I love Mother's Day. For all of you who are mothers or who nurture others or other things in some way, thank you. You're a miracle. You're a miracle. So our theme this month is listen to your heart. They say the first sense to develop an embryo is sound. And the first sound an embryo hears is the mother's heartbeat. So the heartbeat is a very primal thing. And so listening to our heart then is very much a part of who we naturally are anyway. So I love Mother's Day because I had a great mom who was an amazing communicator and nurturer of listening to the heart. Sometimes when I say I had a great mom, someone will say, "Well, good for you. My relationship with my mom was really tough." And to that I say, well, don't envy me, because the circumstances that made us close were tough for us, but something good comes out of everything. And for us, it was us. But she got some, and she'd be the first to tell you, she'd be the first to say, you know, that she wasn't perfect, but she got some key ingredients really, really right when it came to communication in a way that fosters intimacy and closeness. Which brings us to our topic today. I want to talk about communication in our intimate relationships, but very specifically, how to listen so that others feel heard, and how to talk so that others can actually hear you, so that you can both listen to your heart and communicating with each other. I'm going to offer some spiritual practices you might try if you feel called. Take what you like and leave the rest. I love you either way. And I'm going to share some stories, and ultimately I'm going to relate this all to our beautiful philosophy here, as you would expect. As I said, I'm a practitioner here at Ccsl, and I'm also an expressive therapist and a writer, helping people change patterns of limiting beliefs through a writing process I teach. In my therapy practice over the past 20 years, I've often heard the words, "I don't feel heard. I don't feel like my words land anywhere. Like I feel like I can't get through." And then I get that opposite, their counterpart in here, and they say the same thing about them. You know, I want to be received by them. I want to connect. So, and I found that it's not that people who need to feel heard are needy. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be heard. It's just feedback, right? It's just reciprocity. Of course you want to know how you're being received or if you're being received. So paying attention to how we talk and listen with each other is no different really than how we give and receive with ourselves and with the divine. As in, I did this and I got this result. They're symbolic of each other. Ernest Holmes, our founder, called it the law of circulation, the law of reciprocity, the law of cause and effect. And my favorite, he called it the law of giving and receiving. Conversation is giving and receiving in the most basic ways. And paying attention to how conversation flows or doesn't flow so great is no different than paying attention to how your thoughts turn out when you're trying to manifest something. I mean, really, what good is our amazing philosophy if we don't pay attention to how things turn out? Cause and effect, giving and receiving. And conversation is something we can actually observe. But the biggest reason of all to care about how we listen and how we talk is so that we can have an honest and effortless flow forth with the other precious people in our lives that we really want to connect with. Some of us are taking the Conscious Loving class with Reverend Gregory, and we are being reminded that relationships are great at showing us what's hidden in us. You know, they have a great way of triggering things that were down in there that we forgot. They're just great mirrors, you know? And again, it's just feedback. If you come at it from a neutral perspective, that's really all it is, just feedback. So let's do this in two parts. How to listen so others know you hear them. And part two, how to talk so that others can hear you. So my mom had this natural knack for how to create intimacy. But it wasn't until later that I came across some techniques at Kripalu, which is a yoga center in Western Massachusetts, that I'm like, oh, wow, this is what my mom was actually naturally doing. But this is a way to actually teach it. Okay, so here's the technique I want to share. So person A and person B. And person A speaks and person B just listens. And what person B is going to do is to just listen intently and then say back everything verbatim, best they can remember that person A has said. You don't paraphrase. You don't add your own commentary. You don't say, oh, that reminds me of something I want to talk about. No, you just listen to person A and say exactly what you hear them saying. And then you say, did I get that right? Tell me more. Did I get that right? So here we're definitely not listening with the intent to reply. We're getting uber present. Stephen Covey says, most people do not listen with the intent to understand. They listen with the intent to reply. So anyway, I felt really heard at this workshop at Kripalu. And after that, I was pretty excited about this technique. So I went home, I called my friend Liz, and I said, hey, I got to share some conversational ingenuity with you I think is going to blow your mind. So I went over to her house, and we practiced all afternoon, and she would share, and I'd reflect, and then I would share, and she would reflect. And later that night, she called me to tell me a story that happened when her son came home from high school that day. This is years ago. So apparently her son had come home with an idea that she said sounded problematic. She said, well, to be straight, it was a terrible idea. It was just a terrible idea. And she said, but I want to practice my new listening skills. So I just listened and I reflected what he said. And I would say, did I get that right? And that would make him think of another thing about this idea. And then he would share that. And I would reflect that and say, did I get that right? And this went on for a while. And she said, finally, after hearing him and after him hearing himself, apparently, he said, oh, wow, this is a terrible idea. And that was the end of that. All she ever did was listen and repeat back what he said, allowing him to come to his own conclusion. Isn't this just like the divine does with us? It lets us experience ourselves and come to our own conclusion. You know, it's not that life lets bad things happen to good people. It's that life lets us experience ourselves and lets us come to our own conclusions. Again, it's just feedback. After that, Liz and I were hooked, and we'd call each other up and say, hey, want to get together and practice our deep listening skills? It was like this rare, delicious treat, and we just wanted to keep doing it. Okay, so that's how to listen so others feel heard. As promised, part 2, how do we talk so that others can actually hear us? All right, so I want to tell you a personal story about my husband and me, but in order to get the punchline, I have to set it up a little bit. So, okay. So my husband was a Navy fighter pilot back in we've been married 25 years. So in the early part of our marriage, this was his job. And part of his job was to land his jet onto a carrier, which is a great big boat with a floating runway on it. So jets land on this thing bobbing in the ocean. And To me, as a Navy wife, that is actually a terrible idea, but that was his job. So early in our marriage, I said to him, I said, you know, I want to be closer. You know, you're my best friend. I want to be able to tell you anything, and I want you to be able to tell me anything. You know, I had this mom who raised the bar way up high about what intimacy and relation and conversation can be, right? So I'm like, I want to be closer. And at first he's like, you want to do what? Oh, he said, I'm sorry. The practice that was being taught back then was, okay, you sit on the couch and you hold hands and you look each other in the eye and you have a conversation. All right, so that was the thing. And we did this. We did some version of this, you know, maybe not as formal as that, but we made time and we did this. But I never really knew how that impacted him until later. I overheard him on the phone having a conversation with another fighter pilot. And I hear him saying, dude, I'm telling you, you need to sit on the couch with your wife, hold hands, look her in the eye, and have a real conversation about something that matters to you both. It'll be really good for you both. You'll be glad you did it. And then he said, but let me warn you, it's going to be scarier than landing your jet on a carrier deck in the middle of the night in a storm with no moon. But do it. You'll be glad you did. It'll be worth it. So I took two things from overhearing this conversation. One, my husband found it helpful to sit and have a real conversation with his partner, enough to tell somebody else that he should do it. And two, I needed to find safer ways to do this, right? You know, I didn't want to be compared to landing his jet on a carrier at night with no moon, right? So I'm like, I gotta make this safer. And it just goes to show you how scary intimacy can be sometimes, right? Okay, so there's three things. There's lots of things you can do, but these are my three favorite things that you can do to make hearing you safer for the listener. Okay, so we know this one. Own your own experience. Use I statements. You know, avoid the word you because it puts the other person on the defensive. I don't know what it is about that word, but it does sometimes. Keep the focus on yourself. Speak from your heart. You know, it can feel vulnerable to own your own experience. Like, I don't want to own that, but that's your experience. And there's a lot of power in it. And it makes your sharing more authentic. And number two, 3 words. I feel blank. A feeling word. I feel, so feeling words are mad, sad, glad, afraid, or some derivative of these. And if it takes a whole sentence to say a feeling, that's probably a thought, not a feeling. So I have found that battles in my mind can be fought and won in a second. If I can just stop and say, what am I feeling? And it means so much to me when someone else can do that too and just say, hey, this is what I'm feeling right now. And the third thing we can do is we can keep a neutral tone of voice. Because even if our words are non-blaming, our tone can send a different message. Saying things in a neutral tone makes it easier. You know, you're not trying to persuade, you're not trying to be defensive or combative. We're just being neutral, you know, just like the divine is with us, complete neutrality. And we can be neutral with each other. So, we've been talking about some simple, powerful steps for feeling, you know, being a better listener and for being a safer speaker. And we have in our philosophy a 5-step prayer process for saying a prayer. And with any practice like these or our prayer practice, eventually it just takes a moment to create a miracle. You know, you get good at it. It just takes a moment to create a new experience with these tools. And all you need really is one pure moment of pure thought, fueled by pure emotion, backed up by knowing this is possible, I can have this. One of my favorite examples of this, just needing a moment to create a miracle, was about 3 years after my mom died. And I was finally popping out of the grief bubble and feeling more like myself, but still really, really missing my mom. And I woke up one morning and I spontaneously said, I'd really like to experience a miracle today. You know, like that. I've had that experience of being deep in prayer, and it feels like I'm tapping into what's possible, and the prayer starts praying me. That's what this felt like that morning. It just like, why did I say that? I just said, I just want to experience a miracle today. Later that day, after meeting a friend for lunch, I was climbing back into my car, and I put my phone in its phone holder, and my hand must have hit a bunch of buttons or controls I didn't even know it had. And I hear this music. I'm starting to turn on the ignition, and I hear this beautiful music playing from my phone. And I look over, and there's a video playing of my mom, of all these pictures that were stored in my phone that from years and years, the car's just full of this music. It's so beautiful. And pictures of my mom, and I'm just seeing her over and over and over. And I'm like, oh my God, this is a miracle. And that was my miracle that day. That was my miracle that day. When we talk about listening to one's heart, we're talking about something really intimate, like being in the womb and being really primal. And when we say listen to your heart, what we mean is listen to your wisdom. Listen to what is right and best for you. Listen to your soul. The intimacy and closeness my mom created in our relationship is really no different than the relationship we have with ourselves and with the divine. Ernest Holmes said, "Spirit is an active presence." And he said, if we could stand aside and let this one perfect life flow through us, we couldn't help for healing people. Okay, so your mission, if you choose to accept it, I love you either way, the next time you're in a conversation, try not to think about what you will say next. Just be present to what the other person is saying. Just trust that what you're meant to say will be right there when you're ready to say it. And the next time you're sharing something you want someone to hear, think about how you might make it safer for the other person to hear it. And that goes for how we talk with ourselves and how we talk with the universe. In closing, if you venture to try any of these ideas, I think you will be surprised by how these simple practices work. Life has to be more than working and paying bills. Connecting in relationship in a real way is what brings meaning to our lives. As I like to say to my husband and my close friends, thank you for witnessing my life. It lets me know I was actually here. So taking this all into prayer, just like we know to do. Step 1, God is all there is. God is love and joy and peace and ease and grace. God is ease and grace in my communication and intimacy and closeness and safety and expressing who I am. And step 2, I am one with this love, joy, ease, and grace. All that God is, I am. There's only one life, and that life is God, and that life is my life now. It's the same energy, same peace, same flow. In step 3, I claim heaven on earth right now in my relationships. Whatever is highest and best for me, for us, for you right now. Whether it be an honest and effortless flow forth in my relationships or to manifest a miracle. We're sitting at the banquet table right here, and all we have to do is pick up the fork and eat. We know it, we see it, we can picture it. I claim satisfying, healthy, intimate, safe giving and receiving, and the receptivity to using new skills in whatever way is best for you and for me. In step 4, I'm grateful. I'm so grateful that this is true. I'm so grateful for the love, joy, peace, ease, and grace that is my relationships, that is my life, that is true for you and true for me. In step 5, I release this prayer into the law of giving and receiving to be made manifest in my experience, as I know it already exists in the all possible. And please join me in saying, and so it is.
I am now unmuted, I do believe. So once again, thank you, Julie. Great message. Doesn't matter where they come from. Doesn't matter what their name. Doesn't matter what they look like, or if they've been unjustly blamed. Doesn't matter how they're different. Doesn't matter how they pray. The only thing that really matters is that you love them anyway. Love them anyway, each and every day. No matter what they say, love them anyway. Love them anyway, each and every day. No matter what they say, love them anyway. Love them any way that you can, and you'll discover. Love them any way that you can, you'll find it's true. There is something deep within that you'll uncover. And that thing within is always loving you. Doesn't matter how they're different. Doesn't matter how they pray. The only thing that really matters is that you love them anyway. It doesn't matter if they're many or if they're standing all alone. It doesn't matter their advancement or if their tools are made of stone. It doesn't matter if they're richer. It doesn't matter if they're not. It doesn't matter if their homeland is freezing cold or blazing hot. Love them anyway, each and every day. No matter what they say, love them anyway. Love them anyway, each and every day. No matter what they say, love them anyway. Love them any way that you can, and you'll discover. Love them any way that you can, you'll find it's true. There is something deep within that you'll uncover. And that thing within is always loving. It doesn't matter how they differ. Doesn't matter how they pray. The only thing that really matters is that you love them anyway. The only thing that really matters is that you love them anyway. Thank you again. Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you, Ralph. What a wonderful song. So now it is the time for the giving of our gifts. We are honored to be able to continue to support you spiritually, and we appreciate your gifts, donations, and tithes, all that you give to the Columbus Center for Spiritual Living. Your donations and gifts are very important to us because it helps us fulfill our vision statement that we read at the beginning of service. It helps us to create a world that works for everyone. And as we engage in the law of circulation, we remember that God is our source, and we are circulating Spirit's energy in the form of money by giving and receiving. So please say our affirmation with me. My gift goes forth to heal and bless and prosper. It does its good and perfect work and returns to me multiplied abundantly. And so it is.
Spirit of God. We are one in the Spirit of God. We are one, we are one, we are one, we are one, we are one in the Spirit of God. Now let me see the love that you are in the Spirit of love. Feel the love, feel the love, feel the love. We are one in the Spirit of love. Feel the love, feel the love, feel the love. We are one, we are one, we are one, we are one in the Spirit of love. Now let me see the peace that you are in the Spirit of peace. Feel the peace, feel the peace, feel the peace. We are one in the Spirit of peace. Feel the peace, feel the peace, feel the peace. We are one, we are one, we are one, we are one, we are one in the Spirit of peace. We are one in the Spirit. We are in the Spirit. We are in the Spirit.
Thank you, Carissa. That was beautiful. And I invite you to join me in the blessing of this offering. God is the source of our supply, and money is God in action. I know each person is a part of the law of circulation. I celebrate this, and I claim abundance and prosperity for the givers and receivers, knowing that prosperity includes perfect health, successful creative expression and recognition, harmonious, loving relationships, peace of mind, and financial abundance. Each gift we give returns to us multiplied abundantly. So as I bless today's offering, I joyfully accept it with a heart filled with gratitude. The law is absolute, so I rest knowing it is all working together for the highest and best of our beloved community. And together we sing.
And so it is, and so we let it be. And so it is, and so we let it be.
So let's thank practitioner Julie Matheson for her lovely Mother's Day message today. Thank you, Ralph Leesburg, for two of your most popular songs, look like, from our people here on Zoom. Thank you, Carissa Holmes, for your beautiful music. And thank you, Tony Bernardi, amazing on piano, Steve Parakis on bass, Joe Nelson on drums. They have all collaborated their musical talents to provide the music for today. So thank you. Thank you also all who are here for our Sunday service today for our celebration. And if you're here for the first time, if you're joining us for the first time, we welcome you. We're glad you are here. We would love to send you a welcome packet in the mail. You can either call the office, send us a Facebook message, or contact us on Facebook. Also, if you're not receiving information about services, if you're not getting our e-newsletter, you can do the same thing. Call our office, send us a private message on Facebook, or contact us on Facebook. So happy Mother's Day to everyone out there. Thank you for being here on this beautiful Sunday morning, and please say our blessing with me. There is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. And so it is.
All right, let's sing and let's move something too while we're at it. I am the energy of God. 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 All right now, let's be peace. I am the energy of 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 peace. What's next? What's next? Let's be love. I am the energy of love. I am the energy of love. I am the energy of love.